I'm Mike Messier. Welcome to Messier Mantra. Long overdue, a good friend of mine, Nick Albanese. I've known this guy for quite some time, and it's really a pleasure to have him. He's a playwright. He does one-man shows. He's an actor, stand-up comedian. Nick Albanese, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, man?
It is good to have you on the show.
Thanks, man.
Because I've known you going back quite some time.
A long time.
Yeah.
Back in the cafe days, where you was playing chess, right? Were you playing chess at Wicked in the Street? Yeah,
Cafe Zog, I think.
Yeah, that's where we met, I think.
Yeah, you've got a good memory, man.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, and Cafe Zog I think it's still in business.
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, it's not too far from Seekonk.
Yeah. And
it's a really cool coffee house. And you're right, there was a place where a lot of artists and stuff went.
Yeah, I would sit there and do a lot of writing.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know.
Do you find that writing longhand is different than typing on a computer, or what do you think?
My process is like, I do write it out.
Okay.
I have the notebook, old school, and I write out the idea I have, and then I take it from there, and I take it to the computer.
Okay.
And redo it, you know, and then it can change. And from the paper there, it could change too, because as you're writing, you come up with something else.
You ever use different colored pens for different characters? Ever get that far into it?
No, not really.
Yeah.
But I always do like to write it out in the notebook first.
A friend of mine named Mark Carter, I used to see him in the...
I know Mark.
Yeah, Mark would have one of those pens with the 4 different colors, the blue pens, and he'd be jamming on that thing because he'd be doing different characters in the different colors.
All right.
And then later on, I would take it to the point of getting a pack of colored gel pens with like 8 different colors and write different segments in different colors.
Everybody has a different process.
Everyone has a different process.
Yeah.
And you have been writing The Last Sicilian, which has been a very successful... It's basically a one-man show, right?
A one-man play. I play all the characters. As you know, I was doing stand-up for a long time.
Right.
That kind of took over everything from film and TV and stage. I just started almost a decade of doing stand-up, but I really missed my theater roots. So in 2015, I wanted to get back into it, and I got together with a bunch of like friends, actor friends, and we did these one-act plays. I wrote 3 of them, and a couple of people wrote a couple other ones. We had like 5 one-act plays, and we did an evening of one acts for just like a one weekend at Theater 82 in Cranston, Rhode Island. And I was like, well, I'm back. Like, we're doing it. It's great. And I wanted to keep going. And for years, I had this whole idea in my head of doing this one-man play. I didn't know what I was going to do.
Right.
And I decided, you know what? I ended up watching Billy Crystal.
Oh, yeah.
800 Sundays or something, 600 Sundays, something like that.
Yeah.
It was about his family. And that really inspired me. I was like, all right, I'm going to do something about my family. And since my 20s, I wanted to do something.
Right.
But when you're in your 20s, what do you really know?
Yeah.
You don't know much. And after being married and having kids, and then you start realizing a lot of things. And I said, I want to write about my family's history. And I would go talk to my parents. Luckily, you know, they're still around. So I would sit there and I said, hey, tell me that story again.
Right.
That you would tell me when I was a kid. And they would tell me these, and I would have no notebooks or anything, and I would just listen to them tell me the stories, and I would rush right home and write it all down. So that was my process for like a few months.
Wow.
And I had all these stories, and I had to put them all together in this one-man play. And it basically became, and I needed more material, so I ended up watching this documentary about Italian Americans, and there was in one section about Sicilians.
Yeah.
And I started researching that, what I heard from that. And so it became like, it starts off a little history of Italy, how it formed and Sicily formed, the Sicilians left. And then I go into my family's history coming to America. And then my history of growing up on Charles Street in Providence above my father's bakery. So it's all these stories in one. And I play my dad, I play my mom, I play me as a kid. You know, so I play all these various characters.
Let's take a look at some, you have a promo clip.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at that.
All right.
Let's check out the promo clip for The Last Sicilian with our guest, Nick Albanese, right here on Messier Mantra.
I remember asking him, Dad, why'd you come to Providence? Out of all the places we could have went, Miami, LA, San Diego, Phoenix, we're Sicilian, we need heat. It's freezing over here. Ciao Giuseppe, io ando all'America, ciao! Ma tu sei pazzo? America? Sì, America! No, America fa amiche Dulce and stonado. Dulce and stones. Dulce in taste de merda. Dulce facinho. Dulce geloso. Geloso, you're jealous. No, son, you're geloso. Okay, I'm jealous. My dad gets up, nothing on but his mutante. Comes face to face with this kid in the kitchen, pushes him, and he runs out the back door. So now my dad is chasing him down Charles Street in the pouring rain, 3 a.m. in his underwear. Arrivederci, ciao! Ciao! Ciao, hold on.
So Nick, that was the promo package, which I like because now do you send that promo clip to possible theaters that might be wanting to run the play, or you put that on your website for potential audience?
Yeah, potential people, just a little preview of what they to expect.
Right.
And also, like, if I want to bring it to another theater, something to show them. And if they're more interested, then I can send them more stuff.
Is having a one-man play, is that advantageous to a theater because they know that it's a low overhead? Like, hey, we're not going to have 20 crazy actors, we're only going to have one.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about it. It's just me and one guy that runs the lights and the slide. I have a slideshow during my performance of pictures behind me. As I tell these stories, I'm showing these pictures. And so just two of us. We show up, we put the set together. It's a real simple set. It's easy. So, and I've done it, besides starting at Theater 82, Brooklyn Tea House.
Right.
We were talking about that earlier. I brought it there once. A couple places up in Mass. I did once for my kids' school. We did a fundraiser. Cool. I brought it to the school, and then I did 2 weeks off Broadway in New York City. We did a 2-week run there.
We have some photographs as well.
Yeah.
And was this the same Artist Exchange?
Yeah, that's Theater 82. Yep. That's part of Artist Exchange. They have 2 separate theaters.
Now, the picture in the background, is that from your family's history?
Yeah, it's my dad and my uncle.
Oh, wow.
My dad and my uncle.
Kind of looks like Cosmo Kramer and Mel Gibson.
Yeah. My uncle Nino is a very loved character in my play. He was a crazy guy, and people really enjoy his stories.
Let's see the next. If we take some more photographs, thanks to Cody and Kevin in the studio. Hey, here you go.
That was most recent headshot.
Looks good, buddy. Yeah, that's good. Let's see what we got next.
Yeah,
here's a good one.
Promo shot from the Last Sicilian. Yeah. My famous shirt. That's the same shirt I wear every performance.
Yeah. You wash it, I hope.
Yeah, we wash it.
Okay. Here we go. This is Brotherhood, right?
This is from Brotherhood. Yeah.
You played a councilman
many years ago. Yeah, Charlie Hacker. That was fun.
Yeah, that was
episode 8 in season 2.
That was filmed in Providence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's check out the next photo. Now, who's these? This is Armin Garrow?
That's Armin Garrow and Robert Finaro, and that's in New York City when I was doing Last Sicilian.
Right.
Because Armin helped me produce the play in New York, and Robert came to see the show that night, and that's when I met him.
That's great. What theater was that in New York?
It was the 13th Street Repertory Theater.
Armin's a terrific actor himself.
Yeah. That theater has been there a long time. It's been a long time. Small little theater. It's really nice.
Now, you're directing yourself, is that right? Like you're the performer and with
in The Last Sicilian?
Yeah.
Actually, when I first started in 2015, when I had it all together and planning which order I'm going to tell these stories, the structure of the show, right?
Right.
I needed outside eyes to really help me put it together, and one of the guys was Steve Martin. He's a local actor.
I know Steve. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he came in and helped me out for that first run. Because when I first did it, it's a lot different than now.
Right.
It was only a 50-minute show then. And my good friend Mike Cronin, who came in as like the stage manager, he does a slideshow pretty much for every show that I've done these past almost 4 years. Wow. He's seen it hundreds of times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Mike, you're not sick of the show.
He's going to start doing the show pretty soon.
Yeah, he can probably fill in for me. So that was the original. And once I started doing it, I was kind of like on my own. And at one point, probably like a year later, it reached about 70 minutes because I was adding more material to it. And this guy, David Black, who saw me at the Granite Theater in Westerly, who really liked the show, and this guy produced like 20 Broadway shows in his career. He was an older guy now, he's retired, but he really wanted to help me out. So he jumped on board and started directing like a newer version for me, the more updated version, and I would meet him in his house in Connecticut, and we would go over it. But unfortunately, he became ill and couldn't work with me much anymore. So, and now it's up to a 90-minute version.
Wow.
That's like taking some stuff out and adding new stuff. So it's been at 90 minutes for a while.
Do you do an intermission, Nick, or no?
No, it's 90 minutes straight.
So I guess as a performer myself, the question that I would have is the process of directing. You know, I know, given that you have the stage manager, I'm sure he has creative input.
Yeah.
But as far as like, do you feel ever as a performer that you did something and then the director side of you kicks in and you want to tweak or improve or change? Is there, is that a conflict? Is that like, do you go on different modes of your mentality? Like, hey, I'm the director, I'm the writer, I'm the actor, or is it all, I'm Nick and here we go?
Yeah, basically that's it. Let's do it.
Okay.
And like all the years of stand-up has helped me a lot.
Okay.
To even this points where I'll improv some stuff. I may say something, and the stage manager's like, "Oh, you said that tonight. That was funny," and I'll remember it for the next time.
And you'll keep it.
We'll keep it. And there's stuff that wasn't working. A couple of things about my other uncles that I was talking about, and then I had to cut it down.
Right.
And I edit myself, and then I said, "I'm going to try it this way the next time," and I do it, and okay, that works better.
Were the stories too obscure? Were they just too minutia?
They're too like not as exciting.
Okay.
Like I'm trying to keep the show because the 90 minutes goes like that. People think it's a long time, but people actually like, wow, that was 90 minutes. That was it. Like some people are expecting it to keep going.
Right.
Because they were really into it.
They're having a good time. Well,
because there's a lot of history in it.
Right.
There's some drama and a lot of comedy. So, but like the thing about my uncle is I fixed it and I said, all right, that works a lot better.
Okay.
Like I made it funnier.
That's good.
By making it shorter.
It's almost like you're workshopping every single performance.
Yeah, basically.
Which is cool.
For almost 4 years.
It's a work in progress as it's progressing. And what I caught just from that promo thing is that there was some care and attention to this set. And the first thing I noticed was the piece of luggage.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, okay, that's not just some suitcase he bought at TJ Maxx for $40. That's like, that piece of luggage looks like it's from a different era, maybe the 60s or the 70s or even the 50s.
Yeah.
Had a certain style to it. And then the furniture of the set, I noticed that furniture feels like an Italian home from still even today. Because I know because I lived in Silver Lake in Providence for a long time. And I rented an apartment from an Italian family that their home was over 100 years old.
Yeah.
Three generations.
Yeah.
And I can tell from the furniture that they had that was very spot on to what you had presented on the stage play, which is attention to detail.
Yeah.
Some
so
people,
I wanted the audience to feel like you're in my living room.
Right.
You're in my living room, and I'm telling you these stories. That's what the whole basis of that was, and you hit it on, man. You spotted it. You know, you felt like you're at somebody's living room.
Right.
And that suitcase, I just got lucky. It was actually, I found it in the prop room at the theater.
Oh, wow. Well, it worked.
I was like, oh, that's the suitcase right there.
That's a good theater company, the Theater 82 and the Artist Exchange, because they help people with disabilities at times as well.
Yeah, during the day, they have day programs.
Right.
That run all week.
People with disabilities are actually encouraged to perform and be part of the shows.
Yeah, they do the Christmas Carol every year. And actually, this year, they're doing the 14th annual One-Act Festival.
Yes.
It's the last 3 weekends in July, and a lot of the clients during the day are in those shows.
That's good.
And here's something I didn't probably tell you. I'm actually going to be acting in a couple of those One-Acts this summer.
Oh, that's good.
With my daughter.
Oh, and how old's your daughter now?
She's 7.
Wow.
She's going to be 8. And she's really been asking me to do stuff. So I knew about this audition, and I actually got the monologue for her and been like prepping her, and she went and auditioned. They loved her, and they gave her a role. And we're going to be actually in one of the One-Acts. It's like a 10-minute short. We're going to play father and daughter.
Can you give any more details about the content, or you
want it's called Monster Under the Bed.
Okay.
And it's a little girl telling her dad about the monster under the bed.
Right.
And he's just trying to brush it off because he's afraid himself.
Okay.
And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
And so that's the last 3 weekends in July.
I think of Artist Exchange in Cranston and Rolfe Square, Rhode Island.
It'll be at Theater 82.
Nice.
Those performances.
Do you find, now as a father, you have 3 kids now, 3 small kids, and relatively small.
Yeah.
Some of them are getting bigger.
Yeah. In preteen almost.
Oh, boy.
A couple more years.
Does that affect your work in a sense that, are you conscious now of, hey, when I'm writing a script or when I'm doing I don't want to do something that my kids, if they were to see it, they'd be embarrassed by, or does that not come into it?
That comes into it, and I always, as a rule, I always try, if I didn't have to go dirty or filthy, why would I?
Right.
Like, especially Last Sicilian, anybody from ages 8 to 80 will come and enjoy it.
Right.
You know, because there's nothing, I say a couple of swears in Italian maybe.
Right.
But half the audience won't even understand what I'm saying. And then I did plays like Everybody Needs Therapy, which is about a mental hospital and group therapy. All these people have their different problems. And I wrote that clean because I wanted everyone to come on. And then when I wrote Many Sides of the Reaper, which is a true story about a mob guy for the Colombo family in the 1980s, that was a little different.
Right.
There was a few murder scenes on stage, and there might have been a couple of swears in there, but it was for the the content of the storytelling. And those I didn't have my kids come see. Like I told them that this is for grown-ups, and if I ever do this play again when you're older, you can come see it.
Right.
So I do think about them in that way. But I think about the audience as well.
Yeah.
I think majority audience, I think if they show up to something and it's just filth and F-bomb after F-bomb, it's kind of a turnoff.
Right.
I focus more of the storytelling and art. Say, how can I tell this story to a wide range of people?
Now, with The Last Sicilian, you are writing a screenplay based on a portion of the stories.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? Well, tell me more about that.
Yeah, I already started writing. I started writing a few months ago. I put it aside because a couple other projects came into my life that I'm working on. And so I said, you know what, I'll put that aside and I'll get back to it. And I probably will this summer.
Yeah.
And I can't do the whole one-man play. It'll be a super long movie.
Right.
It'll be too long. So I said, you know what parts do the people really relate to the most? And it's all the stories of me growing up on the north end of Providence above my father's bakery.
Okay.
People really relate to those stories because it's all about childhood and before all the technology came in and how things were. And
What was the bakery called?
it was Croce Bakery.
Okay.
It's still there. It's a Borelli's bakery still.
Okay.
But we bought it from Jerry Croce back in the 70s.
Yeah.
My dad did. And we left the name because it was around for like 80 years.
Right, yeah, the clientele.
So people knew the name.
Yeah.
But my dad expanded the bakery. He started making more different types of bread and pastries and cakes. So he really expanded the place. And so we just left the name. So for years, people thought our last name was Croce. but. So it's basically those stories of I'm taking like a year of my life when I was around 9 or 10 years old in the mid 80s, and it's basically about my family. It's kind of like I describe it as Moonstruck meets A Bronx Tale.
I was going to say
It's
Bronx Tale.
more comical than serious.
When you're telling about the Last Sicilian, the Bronx Tale was a one-man show before it became, I guess, De Niro saw Chaz Palminteri's work as a stage play, a one-man show, and wanted to invest and come on as a producer.
And a director. I think that was
directed.
his directing debut.
Well, he did a good job because, that movie has so many loaded lessons about the girl unlocking the door and so forth.
And Chad's probably, when he was telling the story about that, he said how when De Niro came into the dressing room, he's like, Bobby, I got to play the role. He's like, I know that already. Like, words around town already, because every studio wanted that.
Right.
But they didn't want Chaz to play Sonny.
Right.
And De Niro was the first one to say, yes, you should play Sonny. Yes, you should write the screenplay. And I will direct and play the father. And it was like a handshake deal.
Right.
And like, wow. And then look at the history in that.
And then Chaz Palminteri has just been a stellar actor ever since.
Yeah,
It's amazing how someone can be working hard and then you don't even know who they are until they're 40, 50, 60, who knows?
Yeah.
And, they say 30 years of hard work for an overnight success sometimes.
Yeah.
And That's just fantastic. Now, when you say Moonstruck, that was a Cher and Dennis Quaid romantic comedy.
No, it was Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage, okay. I just recast a movie.
Yeah.
But Nicolas Cage and Cher, Moonstruck in 1987.
Yeah.
So where do you see the comparison in
I see that because it was like, because I remember watching that movie as a kid when it came out, like on HBO or whatever, and and we lived above the bakery, and Nicolas Cage's character was a baker who lived above the bakery, so we thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But it was about this Italian family, you know.
Right.
And
Olympia Dukakis, I think, won Best Supporting Actress.
It was a great romantic comedy.
Yeah.
You know, so I like that comedy. I want that feeling of it, because a lot of movies are not like that anymore. There's no movies like Moonstruck or a lot of those 80s films. I want to kind of bring back that feeling, that good old feeling.
Any films catch your attention recently, Nick, that's in the theater now, or anything, any TV shows that you like in particular?
I don't really get out much to the theaters anymore, but like everything's streaming now. A lot of shows that I like. What's that show? Michael Douglas was just recently in.
Yeah, the acting coach.
The Kaminsky
Method.
Oh, I think that was hilarious.
That was fun.
That was really, the writing was great.
Yeah.
Super, but it had that real drama side to it as well.
Right.
Alan Fink, I played his agent who lost his
agent
wife.
and the acting coach, and he's got the daughter who's kind of a screw up.
Yeah, she's has drug problems.
Right.
So it had that little serious side, but it was hilarious at the same time. I really like that a lot. And The Good Cop with Tony Danza and Josh Brolin, the singer.
I got to see that.
They play father and son, and
Interesting.
Josh Brolin's like the straight-laced cop, by the book, the rules, and his father just used to be a cop, but was arrested because he was a dirty cop, and now he's on parole, and he lives with his son. And I think that was hilarious. That was a great series.
And you're working on a TV series that I really want to save the guts and glory on that conversation for our second episode.
Sure.
But why don't you give us just a preview of the TV series you're working? I think Armin's attached to it.
Yeah, Ahmed Garrow is attached to it. Because I've known Ahmed for a long time, for over a decade. We met, but we never really worked on anything. And then he helped me produce The Last Sicilian in New York.
Right.
And we did 10 performances, and he was there with me like every night.
Wow.
He was there, like what he didn't have to be, but he came in every night into the city to be with me. And then the next night, he would meet with me, have coffee, and give me notes.
Yes.
And we would go over it. And so I spent a lot of time with him. Those 10 days, I really got to know him well. And I'm back in my head the whole time, like, man, I want to do something. I'm going to write something.
Right.
And I want him to do it, you know. And he's always playing like the gangster guy.
Sure.
Most of his stuff. But I was like, I want to do something different.
Right.
Like I want him to play something, because he's a really good actor.
Oh, he's great.
And I think people need to see a different range from him.
I would agree with that.
Okay? And so I got home and I started writing this idea that I had for a while about a guy that owns a funeral home. And originally it was going to be I wrote it as a play. And then he's like a straight-laced guy, by the books, businessman, owns his funeral home. He's a widower, and he has a daughter, one daughter. That's it. And she's in law school. And his brother is like this black sheep of the family. He's like a criminal type,
right?
Like a loan shark. And I met Robert Finaro in New York doing Last Sicilian. And it would be great. And I was talking to Ahmed about it. I said, it'd be great. Like, Robert, you think Robert would do this? He goes, hey, reach out to him. So I reached out and I sent him a message. And he said, send me the script. And, it took me a couple months to write it.
Yeah.
And it'd be like a half hour, maybe 40-minute pilot. And I sent it to him. And he wrote back after, a week or so. And he really liked it. And he said, yeah, I'll do this. I'm on board. So I got Robert Finaro and Ahmed Garrow to play brothers.
Right.
I was like, awesome. And
have a Sopranos connection.
Yeah. And I have myself as a character in it. I play a guy that works at the funeral home.
Yep.
And there's a couple other smaller characters, and I'll be actually I have auditions coming up soon for a few more roles.
Where is that going to be, the auditions, if people wanted to find out more? Should they look at your website, or how should they find out about it?
Yeah, I mean, they can find me through Facebook. They're going to be in June.
Okay.
So I don't know the time this airs, if we're past that point. So
Yeah.
They're going to be at the Artist Exchange in Cranston, Rhode Island.
Now, is it thelastsicilian.com? Is that your website, or is it nickalbanese.com?
LastSicilian.com.
Okay.
And they
good.
can email me through there as well.
Do you have a mantra, Nick? I was giving you the heads up that the name of the show, the name
Yeah.
of the marquee is Messier Mantra.
Yeah.
So every guest I ask, do you have a mantra, a slogan, an expression, a mantra, if you would? Or is there a quote or something you live by? Or just make something up on the spot.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, well, I don't know if it's a mantra, but every day I like to get up most days and I'll play a song.
Okay.
And I'll play "Dust in the Wind"
By Kansas.
by Kansas.
Yeah, I know that song.
And I just listen to those lyrics, and it makes me realize how short life is,
Right.
and how like I try not to get involved with the petty things. Or I'm not really a materialistic person, and I listen to that song and this dream in my heart that I had since I was 7 years old to be an actor and a writer.
Right.
And I'm still pursuing it now as a man, and that keeps me going. Like that keeps it kind of humble, I guess, is the word. I don't know.
So you have this on 45 or CD or what's your
No,
medium?
YouTube.
Okay, okay, YouTube.
On my phone.
I'm kicking it
and
old
I just
school.
listen, and it calms me, and it makes me just focus and realize, you know what, I got to go after the dream and not worry about what everybody else is doing around me.
I used to have the 45 to that song.
Yeah.
Believe it, the 45 record.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
There's a lot of songs. I saw Leonard Skinner last Friday night at Mohegan Sun in
Yeah.
person. And of course, they make you wait till the end to hear Freebird.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And give me 3 steps and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. Nick, we're coming to the end of this episode. We're going to have you back and we're going to talk more. And the name of the TV series again is?
You'll Be Dead Soon.
Well, yeah.
And it kind of has that Dust in the Wind theme to it.
Yeah. Before you know it, it'll be all over.
Life is short, you know?
Yeah, unfortunately.
It has 2 meanings because there's the criminal world and there's the funeral home world.
Right.
So it has a double meaning
Double entendre, so to speak.
of the titles for the characters.
Well, Nick, we're going to see you on the next episode. We'll talk more about that. But
All right,
thank you
thanks.
for being on this episode.
Thank you.
The Last Sicilians, Nick Albanese, right here on Messier Mantra. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.